Well, hey, how y'all doing out there? I am super excited today to really hop on my platform and share a lot of good news with y'all. I know you saw the title, and I thought about this. I started ruminating over just going live, talking about some of the fears, because people been checking my page out and sending me inboxes talking about how proud they are of me living my life. And I wanted to really dispel a few myths about living my life, which we all should be living our lives. And it got me to thinking about a few things. But before I get into the topic, I just want to say that these past couple of weeks has really been challenging. And I don't know about any of you ladies out there, but life can, as we use this phrase now, I don't know who coined this phrase, but it's a real thing about life be lifing. But I also want to say that some things in our life we kind of put ourselves in, so to speak. So today, I really got up with the women on my heart because I want to tell you that I've always had a passion for supporting other women in their life challenges or careers, and just maybe being the biggest cheerleader that I possibly could be for people, because I always wanted somebody to be there for me. And I said, let me go ahead and help my other sisters out. I know that this is going to be an interesting topic because I never got on my Facebook or Instagram or any other platform and had a situation with me starting to cough as soon as I start my live. So I know that it's going to be a good time. We're going to have a good time out here talking about some things. And I want you to know that, change is hard for anybody. It could be simply said that, oh, you're saying something that I know. Yeah, I'm talking about things that you know, but it's really hard to accept changes in your life, because my platform is to always uplift and encourage women. And now that in this stage of my life, I feel like I have a whole lot to even share with some of the women that are coming up behind me, as it relates to women in their 40s, some in their 30s. We all can learn a lesson from one another. I don't believe that anyone has arrived to the place where they don't need somebody to pour into them. Okay? I just don't believe that. But what I will say is fear tried to ground me. I took a trip last week and I went out of the country. But prior to that, I love to travel. It has always been a passion of mine since I was a little girl. My mother used to call me gas happy because every time the car took off, I was always one of them saying, I want to go. Can I go for the ride? Can I go to the grocery store? Can I go? Can I? And my mother really coined that phrase, girl, you so gas happy. Every time the car takes off, you ready to get in it and go. And then I had an aunt who was always on the go, always doing things. She was traveling to New York all the time. And when she would go, she would pass by our house and say, hey, I'm taking a ride over to Chinatown in New York City. So do you want to go? And I always packed my little bag and hopped in the car. So recently, about like 2 years ago, I was traveling with a group of line dancers because I'm a part of a line dance group. And we had such turbulence that I had never experienced before. And it caused me to really fear getting back on the plane. And what I realized about that situation was if I had given into the fear, because in a way I did. All right, let's just keep it real. I did give in to the fear for a little bit because it kind of handicapped me for the last, I want to say 2 or 3 years. I was kind of like avoiding getting on an airplane. So I decided, well, I'm just going to take some road trips. I'll do things in a different way. But in all honesty, I never was happy. I wasn't happy. I didn't feel fulfilled because I know that I wasn't living to my full potential of the things I said I wanted to do. Now, how many of you ladies out there are, I want to call it playing it safe, because you do have this fear that you probably haven't told anybody about, that you want to do certain things, you want to show up in a different season of your life, looking different, feeling different, dreaming out loud, but you have allowed things to ground you, and now you're stuck. It's possible to be stuck even in your midlife. It's possible to be stuck because if there's no movement in your life, like new ideas, new vision, new goals, or connecting with others in your community, right? Doing some new things in your new season, right? If that is happening to you, it's possible that you have been grounded by your fear. I know what I'm talking about. I always wanted to go to London or travel abroad, but that one little thing, because I had turbulence in my life, it had grounded me. Nobody knew it. And probably a lot of you that are listening to me this morning have felt that same thing, but you kind of stuff it down. And the way you stuff it down is looking at it from maybe you have been procrastinating about a few things that you need to do. I know about that too. Procrastination will make you feel as though you never have time to accomplish what you desire to do. And I want to take my time because I realize a lot of my videos that I create, I kind of rush through it because I just want to convey a certain message. But I really want us to sit in the fact that sometimes fear has grounded you from making some major decisions in your life. You know, all I could think about after that turbulence that I had was I'll never get on a plane again. I didn't tell everybody, even though I'm a traveler and also a travel agent. I do so many things, but it's because of my passion. It is not because I am bored and I just need something else to add to my repertoire. It's just the fact that I'm a very creative person. I am not a person that is stagnant. I enjoy life. And like some of you out there, you're probably in the same boat, and especially in your midlife, because we've gotten to the place. Now, I'm speaking for me, but I also have to be cognizant of the fact that a lot of you women feel the same way. You have a lot of things that, things that you desire to do, or places and people that you would hope to see, and how you want to show up in your life in this season. And because of the fears of your past, it has grounded you, right? Procrastination, we talked about that. But procrastination will have you parked when you should be making movement in your life. And we look at things and we say, oh, I'm okay with that. I don't feel like doing that. But it's not like you don't feel like doing it. It's that fear has gripped you and it has grounded you so much to the place where you even stop even dreaming. You know, when you don't have vision, or you don't, sometimes people will say, well, I'm older now. I don't need all of that. And I don't want to do all of that. I used to be one of those. But I realized the reason why I was saying I don't need all of that was because of my fear. I decided I don't need to go and see the Eiffel Tower. I guess I can just look at others and live vicariously through things that other people are doing. But I wasn't satisfied. And that's where I'm going with all of the things that I'm trying to convey. I myself wasn't satisfied where I was, because I knew that in my heart of hearts, whether it was a challenge financially that was stopping me from living my dreams and my goals, I still had this hunger. I still had this passion. So much so that I have on my wall, and I'm looking at it right now, I created a vision board. And on my vision board, it has the Eiffel Tower. I've never been to London yet. My desire is to go. And just like most of you out there that is listening under the sound of my voice, we are stagnant because we are afraid to truly live out loud because of some of the things that has happened in our past. And we'll just say, I'm okay. I live my life. But you haven't lived your entire life because you ain't dead. You're still alive right now to tell the story. You're still here to encourage other people. And I want to get a little deep right now. I am hosting a women's retreat. And it's not my first time hosting anything. But what I recognize is that when I am preparing to have a conference, have women come over to the house and we can color and have discussion, there's a one common thread that I noticed about people in general. We always make excuses for why we can't do something. Now, whoa, that may be a little bit tough for some of you, or you may feel like I'm stepping on your toes, or feeling like it's not always an excuse. Yes, it is. It's an excuse. It's an excuse because when our loved ones or somebody wants to do something, and I say an excuse because I'm talking about the financial piece of it all. When our loved ones are in trouble or there is a need, an urgency in our lives, it's amazing how we find money to make it happen. We find the resources because of the urgency. But for some reason, women, and including myself, you don't feel like it's an urgency to pour back into yourself. I was on a call last night and, shout out to those that was on the call. I'm not going to start naming names, but I was a part of a community of women. And we were just talking about things, how we're always pouring into other people or coming to the aid of others, but we don't look at ourselves. We don't give ourselves the proper tools to thrive in our lives. We don't always show up for ourselves. Now, my thing is, I love to travel, but that may not be your thing. But what I do understand is that women always, they hesitate. Oh, I don't know if I can do that. Oh, I have to get back to you. And it has really, I would say, even hurt my heart sometimes. I sat back and thought, hey, this is the time when we need to come together as women and fellowship together, pour into one another, encourage each other, enlighten one another. And people make excuses and they'll always say, oh, let me see, I don't know if I have the money. But it's so amazing how we find money when there's an urgency for others or it's something that you really want to do, but not recognizing that sometimes we do. This is a kind of like a play on words, but we do need to be grounded sometimes, so much so that we can get poured into, because some of us are running on fumes in our lives. And for me, taking vacations, I thought that, hey, I love to travel and I love to see how other cultures live. I want to see how others, just interact with other people. And it's a good thing. But then there are times when we need to sit on the sidelines and just say, I just need to be in this moment. I just need for somebody to pour into me. And I don't always need to be in a rush to do things. And I don't know how I got here, but I do. I want to talk about the fear of change, because there is a fear of change, because it's going to cause you to have to get rid of some of the old habits that we have picked up. And it doesn't always feel good. And people may not want to take that leap of faith, but it amazes me how others may look at or view people's lives and think that they're living their best life. Because I've had a couple of people inbox me and talk about, hey, you're living your best life. I see you traveling. I see you dancing. No, I made a choice. I made a choice to do something different. Had I continued to do the same thing, I would be like a hamster, just on that same old little treadmill, going around and around doing the same thing. And you don't have to be like that. You don't have to be in that position. You can make a decision because it's all about making choices. I had to recognize that. I'll give you, I'll tell you something else that has just happened. Now, I have 2 children, and, I am an empty nester per se. And what I mean by per se is that, you know how you get the kids out the house, they're older, they done gone on, and now something has happened in one of their lives or both of their lives, and they contemplate on having to go back home and all of those things. And I had to make those decisions to say, no, you cannot come back here. You cannot invade my space, interrupt my creativity, interrupt where I'm going now in my life. It is hard to tell people no. It is hard to say, I'm not going to entertain this nonsense. But it's even better when you can tell yourself, yes, I don't care how old you are. I believe that a lot of women suffer in silence of their past and feel as though I wish I would have done that and I wish I would have did this. But you don't have to wish if you're still alive. It's not an easy thing, but it is a doable situation where you can change your life if you choose to. And it all starts with that one word, is saying yes to you. Saying yes, that I am worthy of being loved. And I didn't want to go there, but hey, I'm all the way out there now. That's another thing when I talked about, the fear of flying had me grounded on the ground, literally, where I'm looking up and I'm looking at others live their lives and I'm not living my life. But let me say this before I go into the next segment of what I want to talk about. When I decided, hey, I want to go somewhere and I didn't tell anybody, I was totally fearful. But not only did I get back on the plane, I had a seat by the window because I decided that I was going to look fear right in the face and do it anyway. I had a choice. I had a choice to never get on a plane and live vicariously through other people's lives. But I said, there are some things that I just have to get over. And it is a mental note to self. In order to get over the fear of being grounded is to look it straight in the face. I had to tell myself, no, you are not going to allow fear to stop you from seeing the world, from traveling abroad. No, you are not going to allow the fear of your past traumas to hold you from moving forward to even thinking about a relationship again. Because my heart was hardened too at one time. I had made this declaration, I'm not ever going to open my heart again to be loved. I'm not ever going to allow anybody to do what they did to me. But that is just grounding yourself. That is putting a wall around yourself. And I'm talking to the women out there. If the men are listening in, well, the description or the meat of this conversation is for anybody. But I'm basically talking to the women out there because, hey, we're talking life. Life happens to us all. And we all have stories. We all have things that is so detrimental and so hurtful and painful that we're not even sharing. But I will say, don't let it ground you from living your best life. And what does the best look like for you? Because everybody's living your best life looks different. No one's life is the same. There's no carbon copy. And I'm just an encourager. I'm just a person who sees that there is a lot of potential in all of us, but we sometimes don't live up to that potential out of fear. Out of fear, I can't do it. I don't think that I can take that direction because, I don't have it in me. But when I got on that plane last week, not only did I get on the plane, I sat by the window. Now, y'all know, anybody that has gone through Any type of fear of a situation, they don't want to face it. They want to avoid it by any means necessary. But I made a conscious decision. Not only was I going to do that, give me the seat by the window because I want to look out the window. I watched when it took off, and I opened the windows when it landed. It was a great feeling to face my fears. Now, I'm a believer, and the Bible says that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and of a sound mind. And with that being said, we're human beings. It doesn't take away the feelings, the emotions, but we know that God got us. Yet I had to do it anyway. And so, how many women out there know that you need a break, know that you need to steal away? But all you're thinking about is the financial component. I don't have the money. But we find money when there's an issue. Or what about a bill that comes in? Maybe you know your light bill, the mortgage, the rent. Sometimes you may be a little short, but isn't it amazing how we find the money? We find a way to do what's necessary. And I got to go there. You know, sometimes it's a little disheartening. I feel like pulling teeth to get women to come and steal away so that they can relax. They can be refueled. It is like I gotta beg and plead. I gotta be the cheerleader. Women should be running, saying, "Yes, I need time to reflect. I need time to sit with God. I need time to just be in the moment and be present." And for me, I have always, since I've gotten older, God was showing me that I don't know how to be still. Sometimes we need to be still. We need to just be and pause in that moment so that you can be refueled, so your mind can rest. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to talk about me. Even when I lay down at night to go to bed, my mind is constantly going. And I just always hear the Lord saying, be still, be still. God has every situation under control. He has every challenge that you may be facing. He already got the answer. He's already solved the problems. But yet our minds ruminate over things that may not even happen or how God has already provided. He's already healed. He's already been the mediator. But we have to be open to change. And that is, if I can just make a big sign and say, change is necessary. Change is so necessary for the next level on where you want to go. You will never get there if you don't change, if you don't allow God to strip some things away. We say we want a better life. We say we want whatever it is. But I find that everybody will not align their lives to see it happen, because change means that we are going to have to dismantle some of the things we have erected in our lives. We have put our focus on things that now God is saying, I'm closing that door. It's time for you to move on from there. It's time for not even, oh, I'm going to reset. God wants to get rid of some of those things so that you can embrace new things. You know, I'm going to tell on myself right now. It's time for that spring cleaning. And I can hear some days when I wake up in my community, the grass, you know, people are cutting their grass, people are outside and they are preparing for springtime. Everybody's getting excited because for me, when it's nice and hot outside and the sun is shining, I just feel alive. I just feel like, woo, this is going to be a good day. Everything in me awakens to like the new beginnings or new adventures that I could go on. I don't feel like that in the wintertime. And I don't know about you, but in the wintertime, I feel reserved. I feel like things are starting to go to sleep like a bear when they hibernate. But now it's springtime and people are busy doing things like cleaning their shed. And I've seen someone the other day, they're having a gate put up in their house, and all of these things are happening. And the Lord was telling me, he said, I want you to go in your closet and get rid of everything in there, like a lot of things that doesn't fit where you're going or doesn't fit the brand or how you're feeling in this season, right? It doesn't fit how I want to or how I have envisioned my new life to be. And that takes time because women accumulate some stuff. We buy all these purses, we have a ton of dresses, we buy clothes that we may not even wear, but it's sitting in there. And our favorite line is, I'm going to hold on to this because I might be able to fit in this after a while when I lose some weight. I know we all say it, but there comes a time when we have to do an overhaul. Go through the nooks and crannies of our lives. Go through that closet, girl. Go through those drawers. You know, we got junk drawers. Go through even the underwears, the pajamas, everything. It's time for a whole overhaul. And it's hard to let go of some things. Sometimes we hold on to things that we need to release because it is not fitting where you're going. And that fear of change has a lot of women just stagnant. You know, I recall when I started going through menopause and those hot flashes, my God, today was like, woo, it was taking me out. I felt as though when I'm riding in my car, I used to feel like, oh my God, I'm about to take this wig off right in the car. But there was a shift that happened in my life. It was something new. I'm telling you, so different that I didn't feel like I needed that wig anymore as a support. I didn't feel like I needed that because whether I wanted change or not, baby, my whole body was going through a change that I was just like, oh my God. And I had this aha moment because with menopause, when some women want to really talk about the truth, your hormones change, everything about you change, your body odor changes, all of the things. And I made a decision one day. I said, I'm going to cut my hair off. Now, I understand some people didn't like it, and it took a minute for me to get used to it because I was not used to looking at myself with no hair. I always had on these wigs and all of that stuff. But then one day I made a decision. I said, I had no choice. I felt like I was between a rock and a hard place because whether I wanted to or not, baby, underneath those wigs, honey, it was like I was on fire and I couldn't wear them anymore. It just didn't fit me anymore. It was like a forcible change happened in my life, whether I wanted to or not. You know, menopause doesn't, give you an application and say, hey, do you want menopause or not? No, it's happening for us, whether we want to embrace it or not. So I said, I got to do something. And people may not like it in the beginning. I can't lie. I didn't like it, but I just went ahead and I just cut my hair off. And let me tell you, it was the most freeing moment for me. It wasn't like it was a fad because everyone else was doing it. It seemed for me to be a necessity. Now, it may not be that for you. Just follow where I'm going with the story because this is all about truly doing things, not even afraid, but accepting that change is here. And will you be a part of the change? Or will you get left behind in your own story? It's not about keeping up with the Joneses. It's more like, do you want to die with all your dreams on the inside of you? I've heard it said before that There's a lot of people, people have passed away in all their creativity, their dreams, their goals, their potential of being millionaires or being successful, whatever that success looks like, has gone on to glory with them. I made a decision that I was going to unload everything that God had given me, because it's almost like something tapping on my shoulder. When I try to forfeit my dreams or forfeit being there to support other women, because it's such a passion for me, because of all of the experiences that I bring to the table and the triumphs, or, a lot of the victories that I've had, I want to share with other women because it encourages each one of us, because connection is key. It's like lighting, the match, striking that match. It brings a fire. So when we link together, women talking about their triumphs, it encourages us to keep on going. It encourages us to say, if she got over it, if she went through it, then I can do it too. So it was so important for me to recognize what the Lord was saying, just through, the analogy of cutting my hair. It was a cutting away of the old, right? And it was such a come to Jesus moment for me for a couple of reasons. I felt better. And when the hot flashes hit, all I had to do was fan myself. I didn't have to think about, is anybody looking at me while I'm at the red light about ready to take off my wig? I didn't have to worry about that anymore. I was free. And I don't know how many women out there can resonate for what I'm saying. That it's time for you, sis, to let's talk about real life. Where are you in the compasses of your own life? Are you still out there helping, other people, being there, being the savior for everybody else? Are you always putting out fires for others? Are you instructing people and giving them good advice, and they're taking the advice that you're giving them, and they're telling you, wow, you said to do this and it's working? Or you help somebody financially and now they're really, their lives are turning around? Are you always the one that gives the good advice and the wisdom, but yet you're not taking it for yourself? Yet you're not living in the space that you truly want to be in, and you have a lot of regrets. You have a lot of areas where you may even cry secretly that, man, I wish that I could do that, but I don't know if I can do it. But it's all about taking a leap of faith. It's all about not allowing the enemy to keep you grounded. And I had to recognize that I wanted to encourage a lot of you. Because again, I didn't just pop out of the sky, right, to start talking to women. It wasn't just I think I don't have anything else to do. Let me jump on the bandwagon and just start making videos. Baby, I've been in these streets for a long time, pastoring or ministering to women and people just in general, about how God, he owns the cattle upon 1,000 hills. And so he has everything under control. And therefore he has given us the ability, right, to not only get wealth, but he's given us the ability to change, because change is inevitable. It's inevitable. Change happens every day. People get diagnosed with different types of illnesses. People are graduating. People are doing different things. Life is happening to everybody. But my whole reasoning for making this video is like, listen, I want to encourage you. You can live the life that you want to live, in the sense of not being grounded by fear, to want to do something different in your life. And so with me, God was telling me to take all of the things out of the closet, start changing, getting rid of clothes, getting rid of the old, and to bring in the new. Because here we go, it's springtime and everybody has the spring bug. You see a lot of people in the Lowe's and the Home Depot, and everybody now is coming alive and they want to do something new. But then there are those on the sideline saying, I wish I could, but man, I just ain't got the time. I don't really think I could do that. Man, listen, I'm too busy. No, sometimes busyness is just avoidance. Busyness is the way of not facing the situation. So I need you to examine, where are you in all of this? Are you avoiding living the life that you want to live as it relates to the changes that has happened anyway? Because what I recognize that when I got divorced, at first I was bitter. I was bitter. I was broken. I was disappointed. I was ashamed. I felt like I didn't make it to the finish line because I pride myself, honey, on being a finisher. If I start a project, well, back in the day, let me just say that, because when you get older, sometimes your mind be like, you want to do it, but then things change. But y'all get the gist of what I'm saying. I have always been a finisher. If I've gone back to school, I've never taken any breaks. I got all the way through with no breaks, kicking and screaming, crying my way through it, but I've done it. Or if I wanted to achieve a certain goal, I would stick to it until it manifested. But there is a time when a lot of you out there has not, really stuck to what you said you wanted. And it's all because of saying that you're busy, when it's really not busyness. It's not kind of wanting to face the fact that, hey, maybe I need to go ahead and make some changes that I really don't want to make, but I know it has to happen. And letting go of things is difficult, especially when it has some type of, sentimental moment to you, or something that somebody gave you, or you don't want to let it go. But it could be time to let some things go, to embrace the new. And then on the flip side, there are people who may be so busy doing what you used to do in the last season, that maybe God is saying to you that it's different in this season, and you don't know how to pass the baton and release that thing that no longer serves you. Let this conversation be the catalyst for your change that actually has to happen. You see, when I came on this side of the road and started sharing about my life's journey, everybody was so like, wow, I didn't know that about you. Because we like to mask things. And especially if you are a child of God, we were taught to never let them see you sweat, which caused people to feel like, well, if your life is so perfect, well, how can I ever amount to like where you're at? Because seems like everything is just great because you're a Christian. Honey, tragedies happen to us all. But the thing about it is, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony when we're truthful to ourselves. And this is where I come in to say, hey, girl, you can do it. You can get over it. But you got to be intentional, and you got to release some things. It wasn't easy. And the main thing that I realized about change for me, going through a divorce, becoming an empty nester, shutting down my church, I had to figure out who I was again. I was having a moment of almost like standing in the middle of a forest, surrounded by trees, wondering, who am I now without all of those things? And I believe that just like some of you that are listening to me right now, we pride ourselves on the titles that we hold. And then when things are stripped away, we don't know what to do. But as I took time out to reflect, I want to tell you, it wasn't easy. It took me some years. And I mean that with all sincerity. It wasn't that a one-time thing. It wasn't that I could say, well, over a year I was healed. No. It took me some years to unravel all of the things that I thought was important, all of the things I thought was just taking precedence over me, and putting in all my time in being a mother who was there for the kids, going to the schools and being a part of the PTA, whatever was going on, being a wife, the wifely duties, taking care of the house, making sure that dinner was cooked, all of that stuff. Then in the community, being a pillar as a leader, assisting those who were homeless, feeding the homeless, all of that. I had to recognize that I was no longer needed in those areas. And it was scary for me. I literally had to ask God, who am I now and what do I do? Because I was in a place that was unfamiliar. And I had no blueprint. And as I stated so many times before, there was no one at the time that I could mirror, because I hadn't seen it mirrored. Nobody was talking about, what do you do after loss? What do you do when you are forced to change? I was forced to change. There was no open door on the side that I could change anything. No, it was, I'm divorced. I am an empty nester. My children no longer needs me in the capacity that they did. And who am I now? Financially, I had no clue on how I was going to make it, because now we got to think half of the income is no longer there because I'm not married. So that meant I couldn't just jump up when I wanted to and go shopping. And you know how us women do. We just, oh, I need some shopping therapy today, and get up and go. I could no longer do those things. I had to be intentional, and it was scary. So once again, taking that flight, being grounded by fear. But baby, when I got up off the mat, I felt like Harriet Tubman. When I got free, I said, let me go out there and free some more women. Let me go out there and encourage some women that they can get through it. Is it going to be easy? Oh, no, it's not. And the worst thing that we can do, and I'm going to be putting out more content about it, is I went into isolation. Nobody one talks about that. I went into isolation, y'all. And that isolation for like roughly about 5 or 6 years. I mean, I was making moves to support myself, but I isolated myself from the community in the sense of places that reminded me of my past. I would avoid like the plague. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like maybe you was married to old slew-footed devil. And he lived on, I'm just going to say, Drury Lane. So you avoided going that way. You avoided some of the friends, or you avoided some of the places that you used to go because it was traumatizing to you. Baby, I know all about that. Or you didn't want to hear that favorite song because it took you back. And you were like, I ain't trying to go there. I'm mad. Let's be honest. I was mad. I was furious. I was not only mad at the situations, but know y'all may say, what? Girl, I was even mad at God. Yeah, I said it. Because I didn't say it out loud because I had no language to put to it. I didn't know that that was a component. I was not only mad at my situation because now I had to change, but secretly, I didn't realize it, but I was mad even at God, y'all. How I recognize I was mad at God because I was rebelling. The things that I used to love to do, I no longer loved it any longer. I used to try to avoid. But it was like so, you know, in me to always assist others. I could not negate the fact that I just been born to help others and be there. But I was upset. I was mad. I was in a place of I just couldn't believe what was happening to me, keeping it real. And how many of you women out there are the type that you write things down and everything has to go in a certain way? You just figured out, okay, this is how things are going to go. You mapped out the whole plan and you're thinking, hey, it's going to go just like I said. But baby, when it don't go that way, whew, I ain't know. I'm like, who am I? Who am I outside of being a mom? Hearing that, hey, mom, I no longer heard that. It was like an echo in the house, like there's nobody there. Being a wife, now I'm like, what has happened? It caused me to question everything about me, everything about my life, everything about the direction of my life. I had to, it's almost like taking garbage out and putting it out on garbage day so that the garbage man could take it away. Everything was gone, y'all. And I feel like this message today is for somebody that is now sitting almost in a pile of rubble because everything has just exploded. And you're like, I don't know what the day is. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I have no clue on how I'm going to get through this. But I will tell you, God is with you. But also, you got a choice to make. You got a choice. And I'm here to help you. I'm here to let you know that sis is going to be all right. Girl, let's talk real life. You're going to make it through. And when you're going through that process, doesn't it feel like you by yourself? I felt so alone. I felt like betrayal to the 10th degree that happened to my life. I felt my friends started shifting on me, associates. I already knew that the man was gone, and that was betrayal in itself. That was deception. That was seeing a person in a different light that I had never seen before. Because when you're going through divorce, the people that you were married to, they're not the same people. When you become an empty nester, you become a different person. And if you never had kids, well, let's take it to careers. When your career shift or your boss comes to you and say your services are no longer needed, what do you do? When you probably had got up that day, went to work, a regular day, you already knew that your payment was on auto pay. You got paid every 2 weeks or you got paid weekly. But then there was a shift and now you're like, what am I going to do? And who you going to tell? Because a lot of things we cannot tell everybody. I know what I'm talking about because I had to walk through it. When I packed up that car, that U-Haul truck, moving to another state that I had never thought I would be in, I cried as I drove over that bridge. And I said, God, you got me because I have no clue on how I'm going to make it. I had no clue. I had to start over with new friendships. I had to build those. I had to discover my identity. I had to let that girl die the mother that was raising little kids, that woman was no longer there. I had to make a conscious decision to release all of the hurt and the disdain and the disappointment and the grief and the loss and the tragedy. I had to let that girl go. And let me say this, that grief, it's not about a person always dying, that a person is grieving. It is having to accept what you cannot change. Accept that your heart has been broken in 1,000 pieces. That betrayal has been to the 100th degree. That the friends that you thought would be forever friendships, you have to let it go and you have to be okay with it. And you have to stop asking yourself, what did I do? Because that was another segment of acceptance for me. Those that may have girded me up for a time and a season. We ruminate over the process of what happened. You never get a chance to ask the question because the transitions happen so fast. You're just stunned. But I'm here to tell you that you will get through it. You just got to get back in the driver's seat again. You got to sit back at that window like I did, and you got to face it. But I will tell you, the person that had that fear, the person that was like, oh my goodness, because of the turbulence, I was avoiding getting on a plane again. I had to recognize, look, I could either sit here on the sidelines in my own life and feel bad for me, feel sorry for me, look at other people live their life, or I can make a decision and say, whatever happens, happens. I'm about to get back up. These are the things that sometimes people don't want to share. We see so much of imagery that looks positive, that's glamorized with the makeup and the clothes, right? The body image. You know what they say, image is everything. Image can make you depressed if you're looking at someone else's image and they're just giving you all of the fluff and all the lies about how great their lives are. And, oh, just do these 10 steps and everything will be fine. Baby, it took me years to get here. It took me years to have a smile on my face, be able to say hello to certain people without wanting to, can I say it? Knock them right on out. It took years for healing. Grief does not have an expiration date because, again, grief is the loss of friendships, the loss of your past, the loss of the life you had, the loss of a home you may have built from the ground, thought you'd be there forever, not only to recognize that now you got to get out of it and now you got to get an apartment. Grief is all of the things that you say, you know, if I would have went this direction, that wouldn't have happened. If I would have taken this job, only God knows where I would be. If I would have moved to California, who knows where my life would be. If I would have said yes to Billy Bob back in the day instead of the slew-footed devil, I would have had a better life. All of these if I would have. But I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter if you can sit and you can talk about that all day. But the only thing going to change is you got to die to all of that. You got to let all that stuff go. It's time to bag up stuff, start gathering stuff, go into your junk drawer, clean that out, go into the drawers, go into the crevices of your life, go everywhere and do what you got to do because it is time for you to get back up again. It's springtime. Come alive. It's springtime. But think of it this way. It's springtime in your life. It's time for us to be honest with ourselves where we are. You know, I was in denial. One day I had to One day I had to recognize it's time to get out of denial on where you really are. Financially, if you're making a mess of that, you gotta clean that up. Uh, Spiritually, if you have not built your relationship, mentally, if you're exhausted, you're on fumes, but you show up anyhow, and people just think you the best thing since the sliced bread, but girl, you are like exhausted. It is time for change. But some people love comfort. But I had to recognize if I stay where I was literally mentally exhausted. I was physically gaining more weight because I was eating all of my problems away. I was emotionally unavailable for some things. How many of you are there? And this other lie that the enemy will tell you, girl, you 50, you in your 60s. I'm just talking to those because I'm 60 years old now. But girl, girl, get somebody else to do it. Let the young folk do it. No, God is saying, I'm not finished with you. I am not finished with you. You are able, you can get up on your own 2 feet. You still got you're in your right mind half the time. Okay. God is like, I'm not done. And some of us that are in midlife, we feel as though it's over. It's not over for you. Stop your crying. I know some of you cry. I know some of y'all cry and wish that things were different. You don't have to wish that it was different. You need to find a community of women who can lift each other up and say, sis, everything's going to work out for you. I don't know the day or the hour. I don't know the timing. I don't know, but I could tell you this. You can be in your car and have a breakthrough, and God will relieve you of some of your pain, your pressure, your doubt. But you got to let go of the phobias, the fears of women. Oh, they all petty, they all catty. You know, the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. I'm believing that there are still some good women out there that want to see other women succeed in life, emotionally, physically, succeed in life in different things that they want to do, want to encourage one another to be the best person that they could be, to be a resource for someone else, because you may not have the answer. Someone else can guide you along the way. I am a firm believer. I had to change my mindset about that too. And this is another aha and transparent moment. I used to believe that because I didn't grow up having I don't have any sisters, and I only had one brother, and he's no longer here. He's deceased. But the Bible even says if you want a friend, you have to show yourself friendly. And there has been this trend in these words that have been said, I don't need no new friends. Well, whether you want new friends or not, recognize that some of your old friends are not really your friends anymore. They may be around you in the physical, but mentally, they may not really be connected to you. And they might be getting ready to make an exit. I'll never forget when a few of my friends walked away. They didn't give me a pink slip. They didn't even tell me. We didn't have an exit meeting or anything. We didn't have a discussion. I just noticed that things moved differently. Things shifted. And one day I said, wait, I haven't heard from such and such in a while. And then when I tried to reach out, there was no response. And I had to say, wait a minute, okay, I got the message. They no longer want to be connected. Therefore, using this cliche or this phrase that I don't need any new friends. Well, I think we do, because some of the old friends, they have now checked out. And my prayer is that the right friends, the healthy friends, the friends that desire the same things in life, to enjoy the time that we have left by being there for one another, and to have times of refreshings together, like in community. So, hey, let me encourage you and let me invite you. It's only a few spaces left. It's only a certain capacity that the place could fill for us. I am hosting a retreat, and the retreat is in August. And this retreat is like none other. It is a gathering of women where we deal with natural and spiritual, uplifting, edifying, and refocus and resetting. We have nightly services, but then in the daytime, we have workshops talking about all kind of things. We're going to have licensed clinical social workers there. There will be people talking about faith. There'll be ministering going on. And while we're there, you have time to do all of that, but then reconnect with God. We can be so busy that we put God on the back burner a lot of times. We do. We say, oh, I say my prayer in the morning, and then I just get on out the door and I'm on my way. And sometimes, it's like a relationship. If you were in a relationship with a man and he says, hey, you haven't spent any time with me lately, what's going on? Like, you're so busy that we don't connect, we don't have conversation. And the Lord is like that. He's like, listen, you put me on a back burner? I'm the one that opened doors for you. I'm the one that provides for you. I'm the one that makes ways for you. I'm the one that heal you. And you don't have time for me? At this retreat, you have time to get refueled and refocused and bloom again. That's why I named it, hey, it's time to bloom again, because we need that moment so that our leaves that were withering now can begin to bloom again. Because I know I need it. And so I am inviting you to come and be a part of that. I will put all the information down in the comment section. And I know some of you may live all over the world, but I've had a testimony several years ago when I planned a retreat. And I said, okay, now this is a conversation that I had with God, because I had been facilitating retreats for so many years. And this particular year, I was feeling so down in my spirit because the numbers weren't high. I knew that certain people, the old faithfuls, would always show up for the retreat. But then I recognized that, we had hit like a peak. And I didn't see the growth that I heard the Lord tell me that would manifest. So I said in my mind that this is going to be the last year. This is what I was saying. This is talking about years ago. I said, this is going to be the last year. I didn't tell anybody. But this was my thoughts. This was my conversation. And a woman shows up at the retreat who I did not know, but she said that the Lord told her to come to the retreat. And from that day, it gave me a sure enough sign that I was doing what God called me to do. And that was to bring the women to the mountain so that the Lord could spend time and they could spend time with the Lord and be refreshed by the beautiful, oh my goodness, the beautiful blue mountains. When I say blue mountains, meaning that the sky is blue, and oh man, it's called Blue Ridge Mountain, where you could see all the glory of God there. And we have such a good time to unwind, time to laugh, time to cry, time to share, workshops and shopping if you want to, all of the things, just to be present, not having any distractions. Because we know how it is. Sometimes we'll go to a conference and the spirit is high. We're having a great time for those particular days. And as soon as you get in your car, right, because it's nightly services or prayer breakfast, immediately you get back into that same zone of busy survival. Got to keep going. But what's the difference with a retreat? It's time when you are spending time with God, you get to pamper yourself and you get to really just unwind and focus on you, nothing but you, and to have a download of some new information, strategies, and tools spiritually and naturally to take with you on your journey as we do this thing called life. So let me, go ahead and invite you once again to be a part of the retreat this year. It's going to be an awesome time. I will add all the information, like I said, in the comment section. And if you need any assistance, any support for moving forward, and you feel as though, hey, I heard what you said, it sounds good, but I really don't know how to get unstuck because I've been here so long, I'll put it in the comment as well. Let me go ahead and help you with that, because sometimes I forget to even announce the fact that I am, also a life coach that not only helps you through the process, but I am certified in trauma. And so I would love to be a part of your journey. You don't have to do it alone, and it's not something to be ashamed of. Because when I was going through all of the transitions in my life, I'm gonna tell you the truth, that social media wasn't open that much when this was happening for me. Now we have, everybody has an opinion about things, but you need someone who is literally professional and certified in a thing. Uh, so that way you will get the proper tools in order to take you to the next level, or to unlock some areas where you forgot all about. Oh, yeah, this is why I'm stuck here, or this is why I can't move forward. I am educated and I am well able to help you and assist you, not just from a professional level, but because I've had to go through the experience on my own of starting over, rebuilding my life, going back to college, all of the things that I had to do. If you are in that position now where you don't know what to do, you don't even know where to start, make sure you just, you can hit me up through going through my page. My website is DollaveraSpeaks.com. Or, you can go ahead and inbox me, because I'm definitely on a mission to assist a lot of women who are facing these challenges. We think that certain things are forever, and when it's not, we're devastated. It's like the wind is knocked out of us and we don't know what to do. So let me be that one to help you through that journey. And if you want to be a part of even the community that I have for the women, coming together to empower one another, please, by all means, you can inbox me, because we want to dispel that myth that women don't need each other. We do. We need constructive criticism. We don't need people beating us over the head. But I know that it's change. I know that it's a shift. I know that in midlife, we second guess ourselves. I know that some days we lay in the bed and we cry about our regrets in life. I know for a fact that sometimes you have some ailments going on and you don't want to say anything, or you're too ashamed of the decisions that you made from your past and you don't know how to get back up from it. I know what it's like to suffer in silence, and you don't really have to do that anymore. This is not a shameless plug. This is not, oh, you try. No, I didn't have anybody there for me when I was going through. When I was trying to even date again, I won't go all down that rabbit hole, but everything that I had to evolve to become, it was because I made a decision that I wasn't going to stay there. The enemy made me think, girl, your life is over. You ain't never going to live the life you lived before, as far as having all of the things, the material things. And I believed it for a while. That's why I was on the backside of the desert so many years. I didn't want to connect with women. I didn't want to entertain new friendships. I thought that I was a failure. I thought that I wouldn't have the life that I have now. And I'm still evolving. Never would I have imagined that I could inspire others by telling my true story. Sometimes there is this thing of shame that it will make you hide the truth. And the truth was, I was hurt. I was broken. I didn't want to do church anymore. I didn't want to be bothered with ministry. Yeah, me, someone that loves the Lord. I didn't want leadership. Leadership hurt too much. Leadership was too much responsibility. I didn't want the life that I had before. I shied away from a lot of things that used to bring me so much joy, all because I did not know how to compartmentalize my feelings. And I didn't have a blueprint on how to even start over. Some of you may want to relocate and you're afraid because you've been in the same place for so long. I've lived in a certain residence and this is all I know. I'm afraid. What do I do? Let me help you. Let me help you. I'll put all my information on all of my platforms. I'm not new to this. I have been in ministry, oh my God, since 2015 or so. I know that there are a lot of you that are just coming into the place of knowing who I am. But if I had to tie all in a bow to say who I am a person. I am a woman of faith that is in her midlife, but I have been assisting women all of these years, empowering, encouraging, and inspire them to be the best that they could be and to thrive in every area of their lives, considering the fact that we're not the same, but yet we are the same in the sense of being a woman. We have multitasking. We have a lot of the same traits, whether we have come from different mother, father, sister, brothers. We all in the space where recognizing that we still all hurt. We still all go through betrayal. We still go through laughter, joy. We've had children. Some of us have raised nieces and nephews. All of that gives me the credibility, along with my professional, going back and learning so that I could help other women find their way out of the maze. Because it doesn't matter. Yes, you can be in your midlife. It doesn't matter how you look seasoned. I'm 50 something years old. I'm 60 something years old. I'm too old to change. The devil is a liar. Sometimes because people don't want to change makes people avoid them. And then women wonder why nobody wants to be bothered with them. Maybe because you're stuck. Maybe because you're broken and you're bitter and you're still exemplifying that in certain areas of your life. Maybe your children don't want to come and see you because your mouth is reckless. It's so much that I could say, but I wanted to, come on here. And since I have had the opportunity to take my vacation, as so many of you have seen, now I am locked and loaded again to come back refreshed in order to assist my peoples out there. If you need any type of assistance getting unstuck, I'm the comeback coach, honey. I'm the strategist. Why am I the strategist? Because I had to figure this thing out from ground zero. I had to figure out how to get my face up off the ground after it felt like I've been sucker punched, because I didn't see a lot of things coming. But when it came my way, I had to recognize and understand, Lord, how do I get through this? How do I move past this? I'm too embarrassed to share. But now I'm no longer embarrassed to share, because my situation may be the very key thing that you need to get out of the situation that you're in. May be the key that will unlock the door for you and give you the solution to, oh, this is how you get through this. Yes, there is nothing too hard. God can do anything, but you have to believe that you're worthy of it. And I want to talk to, and I know I'm getting ready to get off of here because I have other things to do, but I want y'all to recognize that fear will keep you grounded. I'm telling you. Fear will keep you trapped and talking about yesteryear. As I had to recognize, I used to, that word used to, that was something I had to overcome. When I was asked a question, it was always about what I used to do. No, what are you doing now? How are you providing the nourishment that you need for you? What do you need now in this season? I'm not talking about, oh, back in my heyday. I'm talking about where you at now. The Bible says, behold, I will do a new thing. Shall you not know it? And I love that scripture because how I know that it's time for change, how I know that new things are happening, because when all hell breaks loose, when problems arise out of nowhere and you have no other choice but to change or either stay stuck. So which one is it going to be for you today? I've recognized that I'm a truth teller and I'm down to earth because I had, as they say, I lived a little. And for those who have been in ministry and had no breaks in between, and their lives have just been on a level field of being in church, maybe from the time they were born, and now they're in their 50s, and all they know is being in church. Well, I can talk to you about not growing up as a child going to church, but then when I think around 10 years old, the neighbors started taking me. And then as I got older, I really locked in. So when I talk about ministry or I talk about things in society, I'm talking about the things that I lived through. I'm talking about working in corporate and I was full of pride. I'm talking about God just doing new things in my life. And you know, one more thing I feel led to talk about. I feel led to share this. Some of you women out there may have experienced some real hurt, and you have told yourself that that's why I don't go to church anymore. I don't want to be bothered. That isn't just a church hurt. It's something within you. We know that the enemy, he's cunning. We know that the enemy comes in and he wants to steal, kill, and to destroy. But that separation, you need community. Now, I'm not here in a capacity of saying to you, this is what you need to do. I'm just giving you food for thought to let you know how I was able to get my breakthroughs. I had to reframe how I looked at life. Had I not reframed how I looked at life, I don't believe I'll be here talking to any of you today. I had to recognize that I was devastated. I was lonely. I was ashamed. I was furious. I had guilt. I felt betrayed. Everything that we can imagine. But I had a aha moment one day and I realized I needed God more than anything. And I needed to get aligned with the destiny that was right before me. And some of you that may be going through the process right now, because there's so many conversations about how I started over, how to rebuild your life. But the first thing you need to do is look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't want this anymore because I'm miserable right where I'm at. Now, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to change this? It's a step-by-step process to get unstuck, because I was stuck. I was stuck for years. When I tell you I was stuck in my head. I felt like God couldn't use me anymore. Not only because of the mistakes I made, but because of the things that happened in my life. I felt like I was broken, like a broken vase that has this imperfection in it and that everyone could see it. And I had to recognize, what if somebody else is going through the same thing? and I can be the voice for them. I could be the one that can tell them, girl, listen, let's talk about life. You can get through it. It's a process. You need community. You don't need another shopping spree. You need community. You don't need to get under another guy. You don't need to be in another relationship. You don't need to thrust yourself into other things. You don't need to become busy. You need to focus on getting you together. And when I did that, everything changed. And the same for you. When you recognize you need to pause and you need to regroup and align yourself, everything around you will shift. But you got to be willing. And it's a choice that only you can make, is to get into community and be willing to do the work and not allow fear to ground you any longer in your life. Yeah. Well, I think that's about it, y'all. I think that I've unloaded everything that was in my gut today to share with you sisters that, girl, listen, anything you could tell me or anything you got going on right now, girl, you would not surprise me, because I've been there, done that, and still growing through it, still being strong, still living through the process, and still learning every day. But honey, because that's why I tell you that this is the day to talk life. This is the day that we all can recognize, girl, don't let nothing ground you any longer. Girl, you better get on that flight anyway. And if I can use that as an analogy, you better do it afraid, because life be lifing, but you still got a whole lot of life to live. So get out there and live your life. Stop sitting on the sidelines. Live your best life at any age. Girl, we older, but we got wisdom. Live your life. And if some of you have not subscribed to my channel, I would advise you to go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. I'm everywhere, child. I am everywhere. So be encouraged, all right? And have an awesome day. See, I tell you, the enemy is so busy. I'm out here trying to live my best life, try to encourage the peoples, and my phone keeps ringing. It's my best friend. So I will talk to her later. But anywho, y'all know what to do. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead on Girl Let's Talk Life with Vera. That's on my YouTube channel. And y'all already know on Facebook, honey, I love y'all and smooches. Until next time, I might come back on maybe tomorrow, because I'm back from my vacation and I'm feeling real good. All right, later, y'all.